Yeah. I also wanted to add to my other video. Look up Romans. Was it 10:9? Romans 10:9. Go to the book of Romans, chapter 10, verse 9. That'll tell you exactly how to get saved. Um, or you could just, I mean, there's all kinds of ways to look that verse up, man. Just, I mean, they have, I mean, even if you just want to download a Bible app on your phone, it's called the Bible. Go to your application store. I don't know what they call it for the Android, but iPhone. Go to your app store, and just download. It's called the Bible. Just type it in the space bar. Boom, download it. Takes 2 seconds, and then go to Romans 10:9 and believe that in your heart. Um, and then just don't run back out to the world. Nobody's saying you got to isolate yourself, but if you want to live for God, you're gonna have to be serious. Don't sit there and sign your life off to God and then take it back, because that's just heresy. Like that's apostasy, man. Like, I mean, if you're gonna live for God, know what you're doing, man. Don't just sit there and just, you know, if you're not serious, like you're talking to God, like literally, man, you're talking to God. You have to understand that, there's a God out there, and if you come to Him and you say, here's my life, and you try taking it back, dude, are you suicidal? You don't do stuff like that. I'm not saying God is gonna strike you dead, but He could. He could. Why not? He's God. He doesn't owe you nothing. He doesn't owe me nothing. He doesn't owe you or me the next 5 seconds of this video. Like, really, I mean, since the first second that we're born, we're living on borrowed time. This is God's time. This is not our time. Every day that we wake up is a gift from God. It's not owed to us. The job that you go to every day is not owed to you. The shoes on your feet is not owed to you. Nothing is owed to you. The air that you breathe, the simple fact that I mean, really, your health, everything is not owed to you. Nothing is owed to you. Everything is a gift. So, I mean, if you're gonna sign your life off to God, there's a lot of perks to it. There really is. But don't be in it for all the good stuff, and don't think that if you do this, you know, don't think that you could just run back to the world and hang out with the same people. It's a commitment. It's kind of like getting married. I mean, if you're not going to commit to it, then don't do it. Except you're talking about God, man. I mean, really, don't be stupid about it. Only do it if you mean it. Because if you make a commitment to God and you go back on your commitments, you could read in the Bible where he doesn't. I mean, literally, you can find yourself under a curse for a long. Like, I mean, you have to understand you're talking about God, man. Really, don't do it unless you're serious. So Romans 10:9, and I'm not trying to talk people's heads off about, about. I'm just saying, I'm not saying God's out to get you, but if you're gonna, don't go back on what you say to God, man. Don't do it. Don't do it. I mean, look, nobody's perfect. It's the world we live in. But if you're gonna give God something, or if you're gonna live for God, or whatever, make good on your word. God's not your friend. I mean, worst comes to worst, if you're a dude, your friend will punch you in the face. I mean, worst comes to worst. I mean, some people are just straight crazy, but the worst that's going to happen most of the time is, I don't know, maybe a dude will punch you in the face, and maybe he'll take something from you or whatever. So, I mean, that's done. It's over with. But we're talking about God. God can make it really hard on somebody. So, if you're going to live for Him, do it. Nobody's saying that you have to sit there and lock yourself away and just be, isolated from the world. Go have fun. Have a life. Have a life. He wants you to have fun. He doesn't want you to be a monk. It's not about running away and just like, and living some crazy weird life with a bunch of weird people and sitting around all day with, doing weird stuff. It's not even about that at all. There's all kinds of normal people out there living normal lives that are children of God, you know. But there's also a lot of people that say they're children of God and they're really not, and they mock God every day, and they'll get their judgment. God's not to be mocked. But there's a lot of people out there saying that they're Christians and this and that, and they make real Christians look horrible. Don't believe it. Don't believe everything you see. Don't when somebody says I'm a Christian, take it with a grain of salt. Really. Um uh I'm just saying, don't, if you're gonna do it, do it. I mean, he's there for you, and he died for you. I mean, you could either live for this world. This world at best has to offer you 90 something years, really. And by the time you hit 80, your life is gonna probably. I mean, by that time you're just really, you know. I mean, if you're at that time you're definitely declining. You know, you're like, this body is just, it's mortal. It breaks down and you're gonna die. But when you die and you move on, that's when life really begins, because that's something we call eternity. Numbers never end, and neither does eternity. So the closest thing to eternity that we have on this planet is numbers. When does numbers end? It doesn't. It never ends. Numbers just keep going and 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 going. They never end. Neither does eternity. But you know what? This life does. And the average lifespan is 80 years. Is it really worth it? I'm not trying to scare anybody, man. Do whatever you want to do. I'm just saying, if you want to get saved, Romans 10:9, and if you do it, mean it.